What's going on, everyone? So today we're going to be doing a video on how to store your chainsaw, any or your gas powered chainsaw. This can go for really any I'd say two-stroke equipment. There's kind of a certain procedure you want to follow when doing it for the winter, and you just want to make sure you're not leaving fluids in there and stuff. So we're going to go over it in the 271 right here. Recently purchased chainsaw that I bought. And we didn't cut much this year. I ended up getting this late in the year. And we mainly cut with our 180C smaller steel. So this is not going to be used anymore, I don't think, throughout the whole winter until we pull it out in the spring. So I'm going to show you what I do and what I've learned. And then we're going to just kind of go over the ways I do it. And then I hope this video helps you out if you want to know how to store your two-stroke chainsaw. And we'll get right into it. Alright, so the first thing we're going to start by doing is cleaning this area back here. So the sprocket cover, we got a bunch of sap and stuff by the felling dogs and the muffler. And then the oil cap will get dirty too. So, let's see. First thing we are going to do here is remove our bar nuts. So, make sure the chain brake's unlocked. Get your scrunch and loosen these bar nuts. And we're going to take this all off here. Now there's multiple ways to clean your chainsaw. You can use a garden hose, believe it or not. But since this is not that dirty, you know, we got some grime here on the back side. That's not that bad. We'll take our chain off the bar. But this is kind of just like you want to do a pretty good cleaning of the bar and the bar grooves. The chain's good, just make sure that's sharp is what I'd say. But really, there's multiple ways to do this. And so you can, if like the whole saw's super dirty from a season of cutting, you can spray some cleaner, a degreaser. I use Super Clean. And that comes in the purple bottles, link in the description down below. And that stuff's perfect because you can spray the whole thing. Doesn't corrode anything, and then you can just scrape it off brush it with a toothbrush, and then get your garden hose out and do it like that. But today, since it's really just only this area, you know, you look at the rest of the saw, it's already pretty new. It's a pretty new saw is what I'm trying to say. So we're just gonna kind of scrape off this stuff and vacuum it up. So like, for instance, this, we're just gonna scrape all this sap and build up right here. Move my bar nuts here. And so, like I said, you could wash this off, but I find the scrunch, just a flathead screwdriver or a stick. And we just want to scrape all this. What this is it's wood chips and sawdust from the bar oil. It just it gets caught in the sprocket cover, and over time it builds up. Smaller saws, you want to clean them a lot more, is what I've kind of noticed. So this tool works really well because you're able to get in all these spots. So we are going to take a rag, it's an old shirt I've got, and just kind of wipe all this stuff clean. Wipe it off onto the rag. Alright, so there we go. We've got the sprocket cover all cleaned up. We just kind of pretty much go over, just scraped it all off into a pile right there, and then just wiped it off with a rag, and you know, that's good enough. You get it better with a hose and some cleaners, but I think this is completely perfect for what we've got. Now let's move on to the actual chainsaw here. So I'm gonna do the same exact procedure for this. I'm pretty much just going to scrape all this into this pile here. Just scrape off all this stuff. So we'll just scrape all this build up around the sprocket, around the oiler, throughout this whole entire area right here. And then we will wipe it off with the rag. Alright, so I pretty much cleaned out the whole sprocket area. You can also vacuum it out too. I forgot to mention that. Just scraped it all out, wiped it up, and it's nice and clean. Just make sure, I think some key points is around up in this area up here. I didn't know this 271's got like this is interesting. It kind of keeps stuff out of the engine fins, which is really smart. But just the sprocket cover, clean that out, and then clean around the sprocket, especially good, and the oiling hole, which is right there. And then I've seen the chain tensioner; those can get really gummed up. Yeah. So just make sure those are completely clean. And then I just kind of went around. Let's see here. Clean this area up the best I could. And then kind of cleaned around the oil cap. Now the next area I do want to focus on real quick, and we're just gonna check it, and it's a really good idea to check it whenever you can. Every couple of times you run it. So we're gonna take our spark plug wrench with the Torx wrench, the star bit, to unscrew these 3 screws here. Make sure the chain brake is locked. Now remove your cover, and it looks like we are all good to go. We don't need to do anything in here, but when you do come in here at the end of the season, if you haven't checked it in a while, you want to take your air filter off, and you want to tap that out. You know, there's no dust coming out of mine. It's really clean, as you can see. I've already blown it out a couple times. You want to blow out your air filter, and then check your spark plug, fuel filter, all that stuff. But generally, this area can get pretty sawdusty, and it's looking completely fine. So we will just put the cover back on. Now, on that note, I do want to look at something here. And this is an important little thing I've just recently learned. So, there is this orange piece back here, and this is the summer and winter shutter. You're able to pry it out right there. Let's take a look at this. What does this piece do? This piece is, so pretty much from the factory, it comes installed like this. And see that, let's see, we have this hole back here. When that's closed, no hot air from the engine can go into the carburetor. Now when you flip that and put it in like that, look at what we got. We got a little hole for heated air is drawn from the engine block into the carburetor. You want to put this in when it's 50 degrees or colder, below 50. So for now, I'm just going to keep it in the summer position, just like that, to where the air is not coming in. But we've checked our air filter, we checked all that. Let's put the cover back on, and then let's clean the guide bar. Cleaning the guide bar, you know, of course, wipe it off, keep it as clean as you can. I vacuumed this stuff off, but you're gonna take your depth gauge and use this. We're gonna start at the top, the nose of it, and you're pretty much just gonna slide down or push down. And let's see, I'm gonna hold it like this because this is the easiest way to do it. And you're gonna push all that gunk out of there. It can definitely be hard to get out. There's a lot in here, actually. If you don't clean this out often enough, your chain will not oil properly, and yeah, I didn't realize how clogged mine was. And then there's a little important note here. There's an oiler hole right there. Make sure you clean that out and make sure that is accessible. So we've cleaned our guide bar, and we can put it all back together now. Alright, so it's a new day. My camera's recharged. Thought I'd come back and finish this video because I kind of want to change it around. So, we've cleaned it all up, as you've seen. We've gotten it all cleaned up. And the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to open up our fuel cap. Now, this is very important. So, if you have been running a 2-stroke mix, like, let's see, if you've been running a 50-to-1 mix with ethanol gas or with non-ethanol, either way, you're going to want to dump that out into a container and go get yourself just a small portion of Moto Mix. And what this is this is Stihl's, Stihl's brand fuel. And this is 93 octane, so it's really high, and it's no ethanol, and it stays fresh for 2 years. So I just highly recommend getting the Stihl stuff because you're going to have the best luck with it, and it does not go bad. It burns really clean. It's a really good fuel. So you don't have to get a gallon. But what we're going to do is you've dumped your fuel out, your mixed fuel. If you already have Moto Mix in there, that's fine. But we'll put a little bit of Moto Mix in here. Alright, we got our Moto Mix in there. And so now that we have our Moto Mix in, you just pour a small amount in, or full tank, whatever you want. We have Moto Mix in. Pretty much what that means is we're just going to want to start it up and run it through the lines pretty much, so you have that fuel in there. And I know this sounds weird because it's usually like you don't ever leave fuel in the chainsaw usually, but because of the shelf life of the Moto Mix, it pretty much is going to be fine for all winter long. So we're going to start this up. We're just going to run it, and we're not going to run the tank dry or anything, and then we'll just go from there and finish off the video. So you've ran it, and so now we have Moto Mix in the lines. And then the last thing I just want to touch on is make sure your chain is loose when storing it. Might be kind of hot. No, it's not. But just loosen up your bar nuts here, or the QCA, quick chain adjuster, whatever you have, and just either take the chain off or just have it to where there's a lot of slack. It's hanging down to about here, because keeping it tight all winter long can just cause damage to the sprocket. But other than that, just put the scabbard on, you're good to go. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was helpful. I know it's just kind of a different storage procedure, but with that fuel, the Stihl Moto Mix, it's great stuff. So anyways, hope you found it helpful, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.